Hello everyone, welcome back to biology. We're getting ready to get started on lesson number 3. So as always, please make sure you have your pencil and paper ready to take notes. So today we're learning on cell organelles, as you can see on my board. Now, today we're learning about cell organelles. Now, what does organelles sound like? Does it sound like something familiar? I mean, to me it does. I don't know about you guys. To me it sounds like organs. So the insides of us, like our heart, our liver, our spleen. I don't know if our spleen is on this side actually, but that does not matter right now. Anyways, we're going to be learning about cell organelles. That's what I guess you can call the organs of cells. Meaning that we're going to learn what they do and what they're called and their special activities. Just like our organs all have special, not activities, tasks. Like, for example, our heart is responsible for pumping blood throughout our whole body. Our intestines are in charge of something, of digesting our food and collecting all the nutrients that we need, of course. And just each one of our organs has a special task. So just like that, so do cell organelles. So first off, what I want you to do is I'm going to again use some keywords, which will be some of the organelles, and I want you guys to write them down. They will appear on the screen, so if you need to, please pause the video. So the first one, organelles. Organelles are the structure located within the cell cytoplasm that perform specific jobs. So we have heard about cytoplasm, which is what's inside of the cell between the cell membrane and the nucleus. So it's kind of like empty space, okay? Now, there are organelles in that empty space that perform specific tasks. And we're going to learn more about those now. Next up, we have the mitochondria. Now, mitochondria is organelles that supply the cell with energy. Now, I'm not very sure what to compare the mitochondria to in our human body, but they look a little like this. They look a little like that. So they're kind of what I would say collect like our food and then you transform that food into energy. I guess that is kind of what the mitochondria does. So I guess you can compare it to the intestines pretty much. But in the cell, it's called the mitochondria, and that is its job. Following, we have carbohydrates. Now that sounds like a very familiar word, especially if you work out and go to the gym and you think you're buff, like me. I'm just kidding. Carbohydrates. So carbohydrates in our lesson are substance made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So the cell also has carbohydrates. We as humans use carbs or carbohydrates to get energy. You see a lot of carbs in bread, in anything that has like dough or fiber. It has a lot of carbohydrates. So I mean, it is more of a familiar word, but know that it is also a substance found in cells. Now next up, this word is always fun to say, endoplasmic reticulum. Excuse me. Endoplasmic reticulum. Now, an endoplasmic reticulum is a network of passageways through which materials flow within the cell. So it's kind of like a maze within the cell. It is pretty much what we would compare to our veins and arteries, how blood flows throughout our body through these passageways. Okay? So that's something to always keep in mind. They look a little like this. I'm no artist, but that's the best one I can give you. But just so you have an idea. Now we have ribosomes. Ribosomes are organelles at which proteins are made. So just like carbohydrates, proteins are important in our body, so it seems like they are as well in cells. So, you know, protein you need for gains, but so in the cell, it has an organelle or organ that produces its own protein. So, that is the job of this specific organelle. It's called the ribosome, and it produces protein. And last but not least, we have vacuoles. Now, vacuoles are very interesting to me. I guess you can say they are my favorite organelle. And I'll explain a little bit why briefly, and well, in a little bit, better said. So, vacuoles are organelles that store food, other materials needed by the cell, and wastes. So, the job of a vacuole is to act kind of like a cabinet. That is why it's like my favorite thing, my favorite organelle. It stores food, it stores nutrients or things that the cell may need later on. And also it stores waste for it to be taken out later. And we'll learn about how it's taken out later on when we learn about how there is passive transport and transport with energy inside of the cell. But that's moving forward. Right now, we're learning that vacuoles act kind of like the storage rooms or cabinets of the cell. That is where it stores all of the stuff that the cell may need when it needs it. Very well. So those are the different organelles that are inside of cells. So we learned about cell structures, which we all know that cells have, well, the three main things that most cells have. Remember, most, not all, and later on we'll learn why, but most cells have are the cell membrane, which is the outer part of the cell, which is in charge of going in and out of the things going in and out of the cell, like a doorway. And then we have the cytoplasm, which is the thing between the cell membrane and the nucleus, and that is kind of like the air inside of the room, pretty much the space between one wall and the other. And then we have the nucleus, which again acts like the brain of the cell. It tells the cell what activities to perform and all that stuff. And then again, we learned about a couple of the organelles. We learned about the mitochondria, which is what provides energy. We learned about the endoplasmic reticulum, which is, that's a mouthful, which is the one that is like passageways throughout the cell. And then we also touched base on the ribosome, which produces its own protein to be swole. Just kidding. No, that's not what it uses it for. Cells are not swole. But anyways, we learned about ribosomes, that they produce their protein. And then we have vacuoles that are like the cabinets of the cell. They are used for storage of food and other stuff and waste. So with that being said, your assignment today is going to be to copy a diagram that I will insert at the end of this video and send me a picture of your notes with this diagram, okay? Now, if you have any questions on today's assignment, please email me. I'm here to help you guys with whatever you need. And again, email me as soon as we are done with this video to get your credit. Now, I was going to say something that I forgot. Well, anyways, I hope to be hearing from everyone very, very soon, and I hope you all have a very wonderful day. Bye.